Hey, good morning, Choice Residential. Hope your day's off to a great start. Today, I want to talk about finding the plat map and why it's so important. Not just when you're taking listings, you should always make pulling the plat map part of your due diligence when taking a listing, but why it's important to pull it for a buyer who is preparing to make an offer. So, I'm going to show you quickly how to locate them. Wake County makes it very easy. If you are locating them outside of Wake County, you'll just need to Google that county's register of deeds and you can navigate that process. But Wake County and possibly others have made it very simple to find most of these plat maps without having to do a lot of searching. So I'm going to pull up just a couple of properties that I've owned to show you some things as to why it would be so important. So if you just go to the wakegov.com/real estate, this page that hopefully is bookmarked in your browser, put in the property, open up the record, and then just come over here to the right tab where it says map. So we're just going to click on that. It's going to pull up iMaps. And again, the plat map is linked to most property records in Wake County. So you'll just come over here to the right, scroll down, and you'll see Book of Maps. Click on that button, and here you go. Here's the plat map. Nice and easy, ready to go for you. Now, I'll tell you, this viewer is not the easiest to navigate, so you'll probably just want to download it as a PDF, save it to your computer, and it'll be easier to zoom and look at it that way. But this property, if I go back to the tax record, I know right here, it was lot 81. Okay, you can see it in the property description. So when we're on here, we're going to just zoom in and we're going to find that lot number. And it's a little hard to read because this is an older plat map, but I can see 78, 79, 80, and 81. So here's the property. Nothing exciting here. No easements that are being shown. It's a rectangle, very straightforward. So that's great. But what I want to show you here is just what you see across the street. So you see these dotted lines that are going across these properties that are very narrow and deep properties. And you say, well, okay, well, what is that? So if I scroll over to the right of this plat map, again, I told you the viewer is not easy to use, but if we scroll all the way over and go back up, you can see right here, it says 100-foot CP&L easement. So if you're standing on the street here, you're going to notice there are power lines that run across those properties. But without even going to the property, this would be an indication to you that, oh, there is a 100-foot easement for a power company. That's probably overhead power lines. And that is, in fact, what it is. So you would know that by looking at the plat map. Also, if you come up here and look, you see these, there's a 20-foot sewer easement between these properties over here and a 20-foot drainage easement. So if you were buying this property, lot 31, do you think it would matter to that buyer that there is an easement on both sides of the property? I would say probably yes, because you can't build anything into those easements. Same with the CP&L easement. You're not supposed to build anything permanent in those. So this is the type of information that you can find. But let me pull up in another property to show you some other things that could show up and why it would be important, things that may not be so obvious just by standing at the property, like overhead power lines would be. All right, so we're going to click in here, same process, and we're going to pull up the plat map here in iMaps. So we have it loading here. And same process, we'll come over to the right, scroll down, click on Book of Maps, and it pulls up the plat map here. So a couple things. Our property right here is lot number 29. You can see what the acreage is, so you can compare that to the tax record, make sure that that information is correctly with what's listed in the property. You can see the shape of the property. And in this instance, you can see that there is a cell tower over here, and there is a large easement that runs around that. You can also see right here in this little square, let's see if I can zoom in a little more for you. And now we'll scroll over this little square here, and typed right above it says cemetery. So that potentially could matter to a buyer. In this case, it's really insignificant. It's a small area. It's not really near the property, particularly close. But there are situations where you could actually have a cemetery that is located in a place where you would have to traverse across your property to get to it. And there are laws that protect people being able to visit their loved ones who are buried in a cemetery. So there would be an automatic easement granted for people to access that cemetery. So again, not a situation here where that's going to impact it, but just the presence of the cemetery might be something your buyer would want to know. So you would always want to pull these plat maps, save them to the documents with your listings as just part of the information you provide to everyone. And it's also then a good idea to make this part of your due diligence when you're preparing to write an offer, to see if there is anything of significance that a buyer might want to know before deciding to make that offer. Again, if you can't find it by using iMaps, you'll have to go to the Register of Deeds website for that county. If you're having trouble, the best way is to actually just call the Register of Deeds. Their staff is there to help people find things like this, so they'll help guide you through on how to locate that. So hopefully that was helpful for you with your next buyer, next seller. Make sure you're pulling this information so that you can disclose things properly to them. One other quick note here, as you can see on this plat map, it actually has what's called NISA, and then it says 8,000 square feet. That is non-impervious surface area. So that's letting you know what the maximum impervious surface area is for that lot. So just additional information that's being provided here on the more modern plat maps that we see. All right, hopefully this was helpful. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And otherwise, until next time, take care.